Thank you once again, guys. Thank you for tuning in to us. In front of you, I'm Maxwell Mulu. I'll be your host for today. Our topic for today is in matters to deal with psychology. Stress management. Yes, stress. Yes, stress during the time of pandemic. For the youths, for the adults, for the teens. Please tune in to view more and to know more. So in front of me is a very wonderful panel. I'd like for them to introduce themselves, and I hope you'll be blessed. So we'll start off with you.
Hi everyone, my name is Agnes Kariobangi, a psychologist by training, and I'm a member of Pcea Kariobangi South, district number 18. Thank you.
Good morning everyone. My name is Esther Wagema, a member of the JPRC committee, a treasurer, a member of this church, Pcea Kariobangi South, and a member of district number 10. You're most welcome. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And again, my name is Maxwell Mulu. I'll be your host, and thank you again for tuning in. So on our topic today, stress management. Stress watu wanapatanga ya nini? So what can you say? What's stress, first of all? Tell me, what's stress?
Stress is a normal part of life. If you don't experience stress, then you're not living.
Oh.
So
Wow.
Stress is a good thing and can be a bad thing. So how do we define stress?
Yeah.
Stress is an emotional or physical reaction to an external trigger, like a challenge or a demand for life. What do I mean by that? So let's say, for example, you're going for a run. You know, nowadays with the coronavirus, everybody is jogging in the morning. So you're going for a run, and you've just come out of your house, and you've turned the first corner that you usually do. I mean, you've done this several times. Then as you turn the corner, you notice that there's a crowd coming towards you. This crowd is running, and nobody is going in the opposite direction. So what do?
I panic.
You panic. And that's what stress is all about. Because stress, as I said, is a good thing or a bad thing. It helps you. It's a good thing because it will help you to escape danger. It's a bad thing when it goes on for a prolonged time. So back to the story. So once you've just turned the corner, the crowd is coming towards you. When you look further ahead, you see, this is a hypothetical story, of course. You see that there is a lion behind the crowd of the people. So will you continue going forward, or will you continue and join the crowd in going to the opposite direction? Definitely, if I know your answer, Maxwell, you'll go in the direction the crowd is taking. And that is what is happening. Stress happens that when your body gets that trigger or gets that challenge, what happens? Physiologically, this is what happens. Your body gets the signal, there's danger here. What does it do? It releases two hormones. There's adrenaline hormone, and there's something called cortisol. So adrenaline is the one for fleeing. And then cortisol helps your body to get the energy to run. So that is why I'm saying stress is good and can also be bad. Now, when I mean stress is bad, or the negativity of stress, is when you have experienced it, or your body is in that alert mood for a long time. For how long can you run away from that lion?
I don't know, but we're jogging. We are jogging.
Yes. So if it is prolonged, if those two hormones are secreted or are released into your body for a long time, then it means the normal functioning of your body is no longer happening as it should be. So that is why I say stress is a normal part of life. It can be both positive and it can be negative. Negative is when it is prolonged. Now, there are two types of stress. There is acute stress and there is chronic stress. Acute is when the normal demands of life happen to you and you're able to respond to them. For example, a husband and wife, they argue in the morning, but it does not mean that they are having an unhappy marriage. That is the acute stress. It is for a short time, And it doesn't mean that it is for your whole life, your life will be stressful. Then there's chronic stress. Chronic stress is like what we're experiencing with the coronavirus. Initially, I mean, if most people are like me, what we thought is that corona would be here for a few months and then we would be able to get over it. But it has taken longer than we expected for it to take. So how we respond to it, or if the trigger that is causing you stress goes on for a long time. Corona could be one thing. It could be an illness, a long-term illness, a chronic illness. For example, if somebody is diagnosed with cancer, it's not something that goes away in one day. So long-term stressors give you chronic stress. Chronic stress means that your body is in high alert for a longer period than it's supposed to be. So when your body is in high alert for a longer period than it's supposed to be, what is the reaction of your body? You find that you're not functioning as you normally are supposed to be functioning. And so you find your body, apart from the stress, developing other things or other illnesses that would not have been there normally. What do I mean by this? You find that somebody was diagnosed maybe with cancer, but because of the chronic stress that is associated with the dealing of the effects of the disease, they may develop other issues. Most probably, the things that are common or the common signs of stress or long-term stress include irritable bowel syndrome. That means you're having digestive problems. Some people, to some extent, get heart problems. You find yourself angry all the time. You find that you're anxious all the time. So you develop lifestyle diseases that you normally would not have developed. So that is stress. It is a good thing because it will push you to do what you're supposed to do in life. Like if you have an exam, it will push you to read because you know you need to pass. But it can be negative when it is going on for a prolonged time. Yes.
So, for that part, I think you've explained what maybe causes both sides, the positive and the negative. What do you think? What do you think we can do, especially on the negative side, to counter such stress?
Okay. What?
Maybe I can also interject and ask and add on to what Maxwell is asking. Would you consider stress as a medical issue, or is it just a lifestyle thing?
Okay, I could answer it in two ways. As I said, when it goes on for a long time, it then becomes a medical issue. Because prolonged stress that is not addressed then leads to other issues, whether physiological or mental. Now, when you have chronic stress for a long time, what would usually happen is that, I'll take the mental first part. Your body has been in that alert mood for a long time. You start feeling anxious, you start feeling like I'm not worthy, I'm not making it in life. Stress on chronic stress can eventually lead to depression, which is a mental issue. But acute stress, which is in the short term, can be taken as a lifestyle thing. So it can be both ways, depending on how it is handled and how quickly it is addressed when it first appears. Yes. So to Maxwell's question, you asked, how can you deal with stress? Now, when you're dealing with stress, you first of all need to know or identify what is the stressor or what is the trigger. So like in our story, what was triggering our stress? It was the lion. So address the stressor and then deal with it. Because if you don't address the stressor or the trigger that is causing you the stress, then the stress remains as is. You have not addressed it. So identify and address that trigger that is causing you that stress. Secondly, you may need to get social support, which is very important. As she has mentioned, stress can be because of our lifestyle issues. So you need to get, and life is not only about yourself or about what you're going through. And you do not experience life in a vacuum. You're always in a society. And so you need to get that or cultivate that social support to be able to address any stressful issues that you have. So whether it is a marital issue, you may be having a group that you're addressing your issues together. You may be able to address it maybe with a friend you trust, maybe a group of people. Like in the church, I usually see there are groups of people depending on how many years they've been married. So get that social support to address the stress that you have. The third thing is you need to reframe your thinking around what is stressing you. And this is now just touching on the psychological part of it. What is causing you the stress is how you react to the thing that is stressing you. So what you think about that stressor makes you react in a certain way. For example, if it was a Maasai seeing that lion, do you think they would react the same way as the rest of us? I mean, they've grown up with those lions, they've been in that, they've been in those scenarios many times. But the way we react to that lion is because of the way we think about it. And the way the Maasai thinks about it is different from the way we think about it. So when you're addressing your stress, you need to reframe your thinking. When I talk about reframing your thinking, I'm talking about how do you allow your body to experience what you're going through. So how you think about it or how you allow your body to experience that stressor then determines how you're going to address that stress. So let's take, for example, of the COVID-19 experience. I know it's been a difficult time. It's been a stressing time for most families. Everybody around the world has experienced the stress with COVID-19. Now, you could be, let's take two scenarios. You've lost your job, you have to provide for your family, and there are two people who have had the exact same situations, or maybe you've had a job cut or a pay cut and so on. Now, how you think about the situation that has happened to you determines if you will move forward or you will stay wallowing in that situation. So the loss of a job or the loss of economic ability to provide for your family happens to two people. One decides, I'll just sit, this COVID, there's nothing I can do about it, and so on. The other one says, let me go out and see what I can do. Maybe I can try accessing my talents again, rejigging my talent again. Maybe I used to cook before, but I had stopped when I got a job. But now my job is no longer there. What do I do now? I try maybe and start, if I was to cook or bake, I start baking and say, if I ask my friend, Maxwell, maybe do you have a birthday, an event coming up and so on?
Yes, I do.
Yes, and so I will be able to, even if I wouldn't get my salary, I will still be able to provide for my family. So do you get how you think about your problem determines how you react to it and whether you will succeed or come out of it successfully or you'll stay wallowing in the problem. Should you choose to complain or stay wallowing in the problem, you will no longer see any opportunities that come up with that stressing event. So reframe your thinking. And that method of psychology is called cognitive behavioral therapy. As you think, then it affects how you behave. As simple as that. Cognitive is how you think. Behavior is how you react to that situation. So reframe your thinking. Then the other thing you need to do is that when you're addressing stress, you must get physical. Don't just sit. Yeah? Don't just sit. Get up and do something. Even if it is not a lot, get up and do something. Walk, dance. I mean, we have a lot of time right now. So maybe we cannot go outside because we are doing masks and so on, and it's boring to wear a mask and so on. But get up, put on some music in your TV, dance to it. That will now release the good hormones in your body. Remember I talked about two hormones that are released for stress, adrenaline and cortisol. Now when you get up and you get physical, you jog, you walk, do a brisk walk for 30 minutes, the hormone that is released is called endorphin. Endorphin are the good feeling. They make you feel good about yourself. So when you get up and you do physical activity, exercise, then what that does to your body, it helps you forget, even though temporarily, it helps you forget the problem or the stressor that is causing you that effect in your life. The other thing you can do is you must eat right. Eat right, yes. And I'm just not talking about eating anything. You must eat right. Good nutrition. So when you're eating right, it's the boring stuff that is considered boring that is the good stuff. So fruits, vegetables, but basically a balanced diet. Because what that does to your body is that it gives your body the energy to be able to continue. Now, you find that us ladies sometimes, maybe you can identify with this, when you're stressed is when you're looking for that ice cream, bowl of ice cream. That's the wrong thing, junking. That's the wrong thing to do because remember, as I said, one of the hormones that is released is cortisol. Cortisol is the one that deals with energy. That means what? A lot of sugar in your body. Now, when you put more junk food in your body, what are you doing? You're increasing your level of that sugar in your body, which is dangerous when it is at a high amount. So you must eat right, and you are advised to avoid alcohol. Because most people usually think alcohol is a stress reliever. Actually, it's the opposite. It will only dampen. It will give you a high initially, but what it will do, it will dampen your mood after a while. So it is not a way to address stress. It is only going to dampen your situation further. The other thing I must say is that you must get good sleep and have good sleep hygiene.
Okay. Agnes, if I may just interrupt you a little bit.
Yes.
Now that we are talking about stress in the new norm.
Yes.
People have been in the house, for example. Families have come, maybe the husband has lost a job, their wife has lost a job, children are at home, there are no resources, we are staying in a rented house. And it is now like almost 6 months. Is it 6 months or is it how many months? 4 months down the road, we have been in the house. Do you think that this condition, this pandemic, what influence has it caused to the stress that the families are experiencing? Could the domestic violence, the escalation in domestic violence we are seeing in families, children also getting like early pregnancies, could this be part of the stress that people are experiencing in the new condition? And because this pandemic is not likely to go away soon, what would you advise a layperson, for example, a family that does not understand the technical things you're talking about, the taking care of themselves to relieve stress and or rather to avoid stress. What would you advise a normal person, a lay person who does not understand where this is coming from? They are just back in the house. Others have adopted the lifestyle of overeating and putting on weight. Others have become too aggressive and they have become violent, and marriages are really breaking, families are disintegrating. Really, what can you advise in such a situation and in the norm that we are going to most likely be in for quite a long time?
That's a very good question. And yes, as you're saying, COVID is we are in the new normal of life as brought about by COVID. So in my opinion, I think, and it's not a common African practice, is that people must learn to be open about the situations they're in. And so when you as the husband, for example, lose your job, why would you not want to tell your wife or your children the experience that you've gone through? Because talking about your experience or learning to talk about your experience is the first thing, because it will help you to release some of that energy that is pent out in your body that is making you react in the way that you're talking about. That's when you'll come and beat your husband, beat your wife, shout at your kids and so on. But when you learn first to communicate to your people, like if you tell your children, they may not fully understand the extent of what what has happened, but they will now begin to understand, what does it mean for us? Dad has lost his job. What does it mean for us? It means, for example, if your dad used to take you out every Sunday and buy you maybe KFC or whatever he used to buy you, that means that now we will not be able to do that. It doesn't mean that dad won't be able to put food on the table. It means maybe we will not do it the same way we used to do it, but we will still make do with what we have. It means that even though I was able to, for example, pay for you a private school, it doesn't mean you'll not go back to school. It may mean you going to a different school. Maybe I used to shop for you once every month. It means I will not be able to shop for you once every month. I'll be able to shop for you maybe once in a year for new clothes and so on. So the first thing that the families must do is sit down and talk it out openly. And people are able to understand. Children are able to understand. When you explain to them, this is the situation and this is what we're going to do, children are able to hear and understand. The second thing is that you must reorganize and reprioritize your goals and the way you use your money. Because you cannot continue to live in the same lifestyle that you are living if you do not have that job. And you see, what usually happens with most people, or what I've seen with most people, they're afraid to change their lifestyle because they're afraid of what people around them will say. So we used to live maybe in Buruburu. What if we move to maybe another estate that is considered a lower class estate than where we are? You see, if we do that at the beginning, then we are able to save up on what we have and make it last for a longer period than if we stayed in that same house that we were renting at that rate and we still don't have money. Eventually, we still have to move. So first, I said, communicate to your family openly about the situation and explain this is what it means because of this situation. Secondly, reorganize and reprioritize your goals and the way you use your finances. You must do that. Thirdly, if you need help, please seek for help. Do not sit until the situation grows to to a high level such that you cannot address it. So seek help as soon as you can.
So in short, you're saying change is inevitable and it is good to adopt change.
Yes. So there's nothing that doesn't change in this world. And those people who don't adopt to change, then they become extinct. So choose to either change to the change as it happens or choose to go extinct by remaining in the same way.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I think that's wonderful, wonderful information. Too bad about the time. We couldn't have time actually to exhaust all these. But I believe that's not more than, but it's enough to help someone to kickstart their journey in managing their stress or managing their problems also that are causing stress. And about the lion, we'll meet again. So guys, I think we'll have to break out for that. And just a final conclusion. As Christians, just brief, very brief. As Christians, we've handled, actually on the other side, we've handled on how to deal with stress and all that normally, as a normal human being would, as every human being would, even if you're not a Christian or all. Has being a Christian, has it been impactful to you in managing your stress? I think I'll have comments on both of you. Okay, so very brief, very brief.
Yes, because for me, it has the greatest impact on the way I react to anything that happens to me. First of all, because I know that the one who created me for a reason, and I know who I am in him. And so if I know who I am in him, I know that whatever happens to me, he is aware of it, and nothing catches him by surprise. And he also says, in Philippians chapter 4, 6 and 7, he tells us, do not be anxious for anything, but in everything, through prayer and supplication, make your request known to him, that is God, And he will give us that peace that surpasses all human understanding to deal with whatever that we have in life. And to know that Jesus also went through stressful moments, like when he was just about to be crucified. He even said, Lord, if it is your will, take this cup away from me. He was a human being and he experienced stress, but he still went through with it because he knew God was going to go through with him. So being a Christian, the way I react to stress helps me, is that I know who I am, and I know even if I go through the valleys or whatever I go through, the Lord is with me, and so I should put my trust in him and not be anxious for anything. Yes.
Awesome. You?
Thank you. Maxwell, sometimes I even wonder, those who do not know God, how do they survive? Because there's one thing I believe, you cannot live without God. You can't live without being a Christian. Why? Because there is that solace in the word that tells you you're not your own. And once you realize that you're not your own, you belong to God. And he's the greatest, he's the sovereign Lord, the all-powerful, the almighty, ever-present, and then you need not to worry, because I am not able to do anything on my own, but when I depend on him, everything is possible, because we believe when you talk to him, he will do it for you. So really, I would say there is a lot of solace, and to me, being a Christian is part of my cushion relief, a cushion for my stress, because I know in God I can depend, and in God I can trust, and no matter how much I trouble myself, there is nothing that I can do without God. So indeed, as our facilitator here has said, he's the shield for our life. So on him we can only rely. And he's the best stress reliever anybody can ever get.
Amen.
Thank you.
Amen. I guess that's our parting shot. God is our best stress reliever. Yeah? Okay, so take note of all the other points that have been said. And we thank you, and we'll meet again on our next discussion, which will be police brutality. Thank you. And I thank you so much, our panel, and I pray that God will be with you and enlighten you with more and more knowledge and wisdom. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.